We love hip hop.
I did a video on the tow truck wars, just a reaction to just the two kids that were out there doing hits. It was two 17-year-olds that got arrested last week sometime. And I seen in the comments, the people were going crazy in the comments. However, there was some people that were like, yo, what does this have to do with hip hop? I will say once again, it has nothing to, it does kind of have something to do with hip hop because there are artists sometimes that are kind of involved in this. I won't mention who because we ain't doing that tonight. But there's been a lot going on in the city when it comes to that. You know what I should do before I go into this video that I found? Let me just do a quick thing because I seen Doug Ford was also talking about tow truck war. I seen Doug Ford was also talking about getting more police on the street right now because of this ongoing gun violence that's been happening. Let me see. Toronto gun violence, because there's been a spike in gun violence that's been going on in the city right now. It's been kind of crazy. I kind of felt like I was in a dream. I woke up and I was like, holy shit, it's getting kind of wild right now. Let me see. Let me go on one of these pages here. Let's go to City News. Yeah, because there's been carjackings, all type of wild pakari. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can find something that's. Watch this.
Since 2009.
Distressing, alarming, troubling. Those are just some of the words being used to describe a significant rise in violent crimes that's plaguing one part of the GTA. Erica Natividad joins us live now from Vaughan. And Erica, police in York Region have been sharing some disturbing statistics today.
Yeah, Melissa, these are the latest stats from YRP as of today, and it shows that much of what has been happening in Toronto, these rise in carjackings and shootings and home invasions related to auto thefts, that's hitting York Region as well, and in quite a significant way, but police say they are taking definitive action.
She said home invasions due to auto thefts? That's crazy. How did that work? So somebody jumps in somebody's crib and then takes the keys as well as mashes them up and then takes their car? That is wild.
Action.
I want to start off by stating that York Region remains one of the safest regions in Canada.
York Region's police chief assuring the public before laying out some staggering numbers concerning violent crime. Among them, a 92% increase in gun crime compared to this time last year, and a 106% increase in carjackings.
And equally troubling, since 2019, over a 5-year period, we've seen a 400% increase in carjackings, which are violent and traumatizing for victims and their families.
Chief McSween saying almost all of the guns being used in these crimes are illegal handguns, many smuggled in from the U.S.
The surge in gun violence can be attributed to organized crime rings who are obtaining and using illegal handguns to commit a number of offenses.
Yo, whoa. We're not doing that on the YouTubes. Let's calm down.
Cases and auto thefts that we've all witnessed and the ongoing conflict in the tow truck industry.
An issue that's been impacted.
There was a few things that I overlooked when we were talking about the tow truck stuff the other day. And big salute to AGB to Don. Yeah, he was there with me on that. I'm trying to remember if he was there for that segment. And anybody who wants to put any input into this in kind of a wild topic here, but anybody who wants to chime in, there's a link that is pinned to the top of the chat. All right, let me double check, make sure it's still there. Let me close some windows. Yeah, link at the top of the chat if y'all want to join the conversation. All right, salute to Off the Grid Entertainment. Salute.
Affecting municipalities across the GTA. Police services saying tow truck organizations are using gun violence and arson in order to threaten, intimidate.
Arson, burning up people's whips, burning up people's shit.
and sometimes kill business rivals. In a bid to stem the tide of violent crime, YRP announcing 2 initiatives set to launch next month that will deal directly with auto theft specifically.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I overlooked not just the price, right? It's all about taking the car, being able to bring it over to a mechanic, and then you can, get the money from the mechanic as well. They get a percentage of the mechanic's money when they do all of that. It's like there's a lot of levels to this shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's not only about just getting the money for a tow. Okay. This is why these guys are really, really crashing out over this, and the stolen car aspect. Okay. People can just go get somebody's car, somebody who doesn't even pick up their car. Let's say they go tow somebody's car on some really just heinous shit. You know what I'm saying? That car could be gone on a ship to Africa just now. All right. So there's levels to this shit that I didn't really think about last time. It was just the first time that I was examining this whole tow truck war on live. I've obviously talked about it behind the scenes with friends and all that type of stuff, but like, sheesh, it's a lot. It's a lot.
The first.
Jesus Christ.
A dedicated carjacking task force in York Region, which they say will expand on their existing efforts.
Yo, this is what's going on in our city right now. Like, this is Toronto.
What we're trying to do is ensure that we have the adequate resources out there to deal with these individuals, because we are becoming overwhelmed with the number of cases, right?
Graphic. Stop that.
Out of work.
Police also set to launch a public education campaign called A.W.O.L.
Yo, look at this. The man's trying to go in his whip, and then this nigga slides up and tries to just take his shit.
Called Auto Guard 2.0.
Broski. I feel like I woke up in South Central or something. Break yourself. Y'all remember that from Menace to Society? Break yourself, nigga. Break yourself, nigga.
Kind of fucked up, huh?
Crazy, that was too funny.
Oh, what?
2 balls of eyes, baby.
Yeah, he real fucked up, eh?
Toronto, man.
I'm tired of him. Get your ass up out the car, nigga. Get the fuck out. Break yourself, nigga.
We ain't saying that over here, but this is what Toronto's become. I remember watching this in the 90s. Right? Niggas do some shit like this.
Get your ass up out the car, nigga. Get the fuck out. Break yourself, nigga. Break yourself.
Right? Puts chills up my spine. Jesus Christ. That's how we're moving over here?
Carjackings.
And equally troubling, since 2009.
An issue that's been impacting municipalities across.
While we're becoming overwhelmed with the number of cases.
Informing residents on how they can protect.
Holy shit, man. They didn't even let the gas tank out the thing, bro. Degenerate behavior.
2.0, informing residents on how they can protect themselves. McSween noting that the
Mash
sharp
up the
rise in
man's doors. Oh, Lord. Look at the door. These niggas is not playing out here, B. Break yourself.
McSween noting that the sharp rise in carjacking, specifically in York Region, is partly because of the large number of affluent areas.
owning a high-end vehicle that is a targeted vehicle can put you at risk, right, of becoming a victim. And so what we're doing is trying to deal with it from an education standpoint. We know we can't enforce our way out of this problem.
Also spoke about a disturbing shift among those arrests for these crimes, and it's something that we've heard many times before.
Jeez. Yeah, we're kind of going through it right now. I'm not gonna lie. We are really, really on some shit.
Get your ass up out the car, nigga. Get the fuck out. Break yourself, nigga. Break yourself.
We're going through it right now, man. Toronto's in its break yourself era right now. I did have a quick story that I wanted to look up here. Let's see. Here it is.
Repeatedly.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Turf war is raging across the Greater Toronto area. A doctor, a lawyer, and even a police officer have been terrorized. And even though the violence is contained to a relatively small part of the country, this war is affecting almost every Canadian through higher insurance premiums.
I didn't even think about the insurance premiums.
Security video shows a man popping the trunk of a white Mercedes. He calmly pulls out gas canisters, throws a large rock through the window, and douses
fire at the office. And I said, no, I said, that's impossible.
The building is a law office owned by Lisa Carr.
You know, the police believe they're not trying to hurt anybody. Nobody believed that it would get to the extent that it got to.
It turns out that arson was just the beginning of increasingly violent attacks meant to send a message to lawyer Lisa Carr.
A number of
That's
months
crazy.
after that very brazen attack, there was a direct threat made against one of your employees.
One of the lawyers was threatened at gunpoint. It was daylight. It was lunchtime. The plaza was completely full of cars. The gunman had said, stop suing my friend.
Are you going through all your files trying to think, who have I made so angry?
Absolutely.
Just days later, and again with innocent bystanders milling about, and the law office filled with employees, a man gets out of a Volvo sedan and opens fire.
Yo, he ain't doing that. So yeah, it gets deep.
He's fearful to speak publicly after learning of a death threat against him because of his attempts to clean up the industry.
Oh, I have a target on my back. Absolutely, I do.
When you say you have a target on your back, what does that mean?
I've been told to watch myself.
Or else?
Or else I could be next.
That's frightening.
I worry about my wife.
You think they're that ruthless that they'd go after your wife?
Yeah.
Yo. This man doesn't even want to have his face shown to talk about these niggas, B.
They went after an innocent doctor, didn't they?
Mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity. However, it just goes to show these aren't sometimes the smartest people we're dealing with, and they really have no qualms about who they go after.
This is what he's referring to.
This just into CP24, live pictures from Chopper 24. Police investigating a shooting on the 401 near Meadowvale Road.
W5 has learned that earlier this year, an innocent doctor on his way to work was shot up in a case of mistaken identity. Exactly 1 week later, the intended target was hit. Security footage shows the gunman pulling up to the home of a man involved in the tow industry. The victim's identity has been blurred by police, but you can see him trying to run away and
it's about to get wild.
Being shot.
Yo, No, sir.
To death outside his Richmond Hill home. Police say 2 counts of murder have been laid in connection with the death.
The man leading.
So let's stop there. Let's unpack this for a second. Woo! This is heavy, man. It makes it kind of like, remember, like I was speaking about last week, they had the 2 young children, I would say, because the 16 and 17 that were out there murking niggas for the tow truck industry. Is it Yolanda Richardson wants to know if I'm scared. I'm never scared, but at the same time I'm concerned. I'll say that, concerned, because we got to remember it. Anybody may need a tow truck at any time. Okay. And when you see all of this wild stuff that's going on, right? Just to think that all of this wild stuff is centered around the whole tow truck industry. Not to say that the tow truck drivers are the killers, but goddamn, there's a lot of killers in this shit, it seems like. So you never know. Is a nigga giving you the tow truck and you're sitting there next to him? Because remember, it's not like it's a 4-seater or a 6-seater or something like that. You're sitting there right next to him. Glove compartment right there, sir. Is there a heater in the glove compartment? Jesus Christ.
The effort to put an end to it is Police Superintendent Michael Slack, who leads the organized crime
Close my
unit.
goddamn window.
We allege that the competition for control of the towing market has resulted in murders, attempted murders, shootings, assaults, arsons, threats,
and all kind of fuck our
property damage.
Why is the head of the organized crime unit investigating tow trucks?
We often think about organized crime. We think the Hells Angels, your Tony Sopranos, the Cosa Nostra. But really, organized crime is 3 or more people that are engaged in criminal activity for profits.
Can you share the landscape of what this war looks like and who the different actors are in this?
We identified 4 kind of distinct groups fighting against one another for control. And sometimes there's agreements, and sometimes, because those agreements get breached, the fight starts, and that leads to the violence.
Jesus Murphy.
Police launched a massive operation called Project Platinum. This police video documents a series of raids carried out by York Region, Toronto.
Hold on, let me just double check something quick fast. Sorry to keep on stopping it. This is from 3 years ago. All right, so we're right now in the midst of this shit just being super extra hot. But it was hot 3 years ago. And salute to the official W5, the W5 YouTube channel. All right, let me throw a like on there. Pow. All right. Crazy special.
And Ontario Provincial Police. Almost 40 weapons were seized, including a machine gun. 35 people have been...
Wow. These niggas had a machine gun? The fuck are they doing with a machine gun?
They have to make money for their organization.
Hold on, what you say right there, bro?
Project Platinum.
They're operating under a territory, and the bigger the territory that each organization or tow group controls, the more opportunity they have to make money for their organization.
Heard that? Okay. Say it again.
Detective Sean Whitaker was the lead investigator of Project Platinum.
They're operating under a territory, and the bigger the territory that each organization or tow group controls, the more opportunity they have to make money for their organization.
So why all the violence and arsons over a side-of-the-road tow that brings in a couple $100s?
Break it down.
It's a question that perplexed the head of the organized crime unit.
And Friday Ricky Dread.
When he first started delving into the industry's murky underworld.
And that was a real shock for me. Originally looking at that, I couldn't understand the level of violence over a tow that could be, $300, but that's where it starts.
The reality is the tow truck drivers are kind of the foot soldiers in this war. It's a tiny little
Absolutely.
tip of an iceberg of where the real problem is.
Right, 100%.
The real money comes after the vehicle is on the hook. The tow truck driver gets a kickback from unscrupulous body shops who in turn
Didn't I just say that?
submit wildly inflated repair bills to insurance companies.
Each vehicle.
Then the insurance companies. Oh, you smart.
On a tow has the potential to generate tens of thousands of dollars of profit per every vehicle, including the storage. The storage is another angle that they make money at.
So one tow could result in a $10,000 windfall for these bad apples.
$10,000 at the end of the day. No wonder.
Yeah, for sure.
Even the police have been accused of getting a piece of the action.
Of course.
An officer in Toronto and 3 in Ottawa recently being charged with accepting kickbacks for leading tow truck drivers to accidents. Lawyer Lisa Carr was targeted because she had been hired by the insurance industry to fight a flood of bogus claims that had been pouring in from body shops.
This isn't the kind of money that people kill for. You know, it's business. It's not criminal. We're not taking away. But I didn't think it was that kind of money that you would kill for.
Oh, well, you were just sadly mistaken there, Karen. I feel bad for her though, because she ain't here on some, I'm representing some gangsters. She's representing the ops intentionally. No, as you can hear, or as they just said, she got hired by the insurance company because the insurance company was tired of getting jerked. Pause. They're getting all these bogus claims coming in. They're like, what is this? And they try to fight it, as they should. It's just regular shit. However, the lawyer that they send it over to fight it, now she got a target on her back. That's insane. Oh, shit. This is like a movie.
Doesn't make sense.
But it does make sense when you look at the bigger picture of just how much money is at stake. The Canadian insurance industry estimates those fake car repair fees add up to $2 billion a year, which sends your premiums sky high. Mark Graves is the head of the Provincial Towing Association of Ontario.
Once that vehicle is released to a body shop, then the body shop takes ownership of that vehicle, and technically they own that vehicle until your insurance company pay the bill.
I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story because this goes beyond Toronto. I think obviously Montreal has its reputation for gangster shit, and I had to get told in Montreal once upon a time, and now everything's making sense to me because I was driving and I was just arriving in Montreal, and now even when I think about it, there's even more levels to the shit. I had just financed a vehicle. It was a Honda CRX, or one of those little mini trucks or whatever, mini SUVs. I had one of those. I might have had it for less than 6 months. And I drove it to Montreal. And when I got to Montreal, and listen, this car was in great condition, I thought. Bought it in Scarborough off Kingston Road. If I could remember the place where I bought it from, I would call y'all out because y'all were in on it too. Sold me the bunky vehicle. When I got now to Montreal, this is maybe I got there in about 4.5 hours because I'd be going down to 401 quick fast. Got there in 4.5 hours, and as soon as I got into the Montreal traffic on the highway, the car went. And I was able to pull it over to the side of the highway so I wasn't in the middle of the road, and it died. Had to get a tow truck. Tow truck gave me a pretty cool rate. I think I paid a little under $200 to get the car from the highway over to a place right in Little Burgundy area. For the people from Montreal, y'all know where Little Burgundy is. Okay. If I'm not mistaken. No. It was NDG. They bought it to like NDG. They bring the car directly to a mechanic out there. Now I'm going to be snitching on myself. This is 2014. So as far as any criminal activities, and I'm not naming any names as far as tow truck companies, mechanic shops, or anything. But that engine in that car was donezo. It was dead. They sold me a car that pretty much was ready to die in the next few months. That's what I was told by the mechanic. Maybe the engine wasn't dead. Now when I think about it, because there's levels to this shit. But the mechanic told me the engine's donezo. However, I can help you so that you can get around this insurance and stuff like that. Because as far as the car company themselves, they were like, "No, we can't take it back. You're going to have to get the car fixed. And we can't help you. It's past the amount of time for your warranty." Well, all right then. Now I'm stuck with a car that's a lemon. But the mechanic was smart. And he told me, you know what? I can get you out of this where you don't have to pay nothing. Matter of fact, I actually made some money on top. He said, we'll make it look like something happened where a hole ended up in your engine. And you can claim it on insurance. And said that something happened on the road where a hole ended up in the bottom of your engine. And there's a hole in your engine. Claim it. And we'll fix it or whatever. And get you back on the road. They'll put a new engine in your car. You know, charge them, tell them that it's going to cost about this much. He had everything all figured out. And I listened to what he said. Because to be honest, I wasn't in the position to be able to go buy a new engine. A new engine is extremely expensive. I did what he said, and I was able to even walk away with a little $2 in my pocket after that. And the car was fixed, and I was out of there. I say all that to say, now when I watch something like this, it all makes sense to me. There was a hierarchy. Like I said, there was levels to this shit. And I don't even think it started from the tow truck. I think it started from the place where I bought the car. Because they know that those trucks are going to, or those cars are going to keel over on the road. And then they're going to need a tow truck. And then they're going to need repair. And they're going to need insurance involved. And everything's going to get back into a whole circle again. So the roots don't even start from the tow trucks, I'm saying. The roots may start from the place where you go buy your car. Beware of where you go buy your car.
Mark runs a tow truck company in Sault Ste. Marie. He's been trying to clean up the industry for years.
As the highways in central Ontario have gotten busier, the problem has escalated. And there's unscrupulous people that are taking advantage of the lack of regulation.
There are no rules. It is essentially the Wild West on the highways, paving the way for criminals to move in. Of the 444 municipalities in Ontario, only 18 even have a system set up to license tow truck operators.
Interesting. You picking up the game that they're putting down over here?
And on most of the major highways in the Greater Toronto Area, the municipalities have no jurisdiction. There are no regulations at all.
Are you saying that if I wanted to buy a truck and make Haynes Towing a company, I could go out and start hitching up cars on the side of the road?
Avery, I could give you the keys for my truck right now, and you could be out working in 10 minutes.
The lawlessness has struck a nerve with Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford.
But a very clear message.
So they said any and everybody could become a tow truck driver. Goddamn. Hold on. The chaser model. Let's see what this is.
National list of reputable tow road. So how did it get to this point in the tow truck industry? Well, it used to be that each police service would have a rotational list of reputable tow companies who would be called when there was an accident. Now more regions are going to the chaser model, where the first person on the scene gets the tow. For the bad actors in this industry, each tow can bring in thousands of dollars in bogus repair and storage fees. So getting there first is all that matters, leading to scenes like this.
Wait for it.
Two massive tow trucks nearly sideswiping on the highway. It's also led to all-out brawls like this, as tow truck drivers literally fight for the client.
Yo, that's crazy. Mans are. Hold on, I gotta rewind that. That's insane. To get to the spot first.
Leading to scenes like this. Two massive tow trucks nearly sideswiping on the highway. It's also led to all-out brawls like this, as tow truck drivers literally fight for the client at the side of the road.
Discretions.
I think they said Dixie, but go for a lap anyways. They were doing radar at Dundas.
This man, Mike Batista, is a chaser. With 4 scanners
And man showing his face?
Constantly blaring, and a cell phone at the ready to take accident tips. He's had his own run-ins with the law, and some consider him part of the problem.
In some of the police force's eyes, we're the bad guys because we're always there.
But why do you think you have that reputation as being one of the bad guys?
Well, I got charged for uttering death threats, but it wasn't even a death threat. But the charge got withdrawn.
What is this?
But how did that all?
He's covering the name of the tow truck
Someone
company.
was kind of hinting that we were responsible for burning trucks. So I kind of defended myself. Maybe not in a professional way, but it cost me 6 months of work, which I think was unfair.
Batista.
What the hell did you do to these niggas just for saying that y'all burn trucks?
This company pretty much owns this stretch of the Queen Elizabeth Highway outside Toronto. Of the 25 tow trucks on the road right now, 18 of them are his.
I mean, we have a huge team. We work with 40 different guys. We work with 2 other companies as well. That's
Gang, what's the name of that tow truck company? Pop it up in the chat.
probably 70% of the tow trucks in this area.
Batista is vague when asked what happens if someone tries.
Like he's covering it.
I mean, we have a huge.
What's the name of this company? It's like playing Wheel of Fortune. All right. Is it Wheel of Fortune? What's the one with the flipping the letters and stuff like that with Pat Sajak's RIP and Vanna White? But yeah, what's the name of this company here? Jesus Christ.
Huge team. We work with. They usually don't last too long because they're not making money, right?
Daniel Sanderson is also a chaser. In fact, he runs an association that represents fellow chasers in Ontario.
Do I think the violence is...
Yo, I don't want my car to break down anytime. Knock on wood.
It's gone out of hand? Yes, I do. It saddens my soul to see anyone get hurt in the towing industry or someone portraying, oh, it's a turf war. But that's what happens when the cat's away and the mice will play.
The cat being the
police.
Sanderson's been driving the highways for more than 40 years. He says the Ontario
Y'all said Batista towing, eh?
Provincial Police, who are responsible for the major series of highways in the Greater Toronto Area, rely on chasers to clear the highway quickly.
Yo.
Why do you think they brought in the system now?
I think they've done it so they don't have to show up at accident scenes. They don't have to do as much paperwork, and it's saving their officers. They're not all going to every single call like the regional police do.
We took that allegation to the person in charge.
Okay, hold on. What did it say in here? My bad.
For Ann Ackermans, who is considering shutting down her business after 34 years, the problem lies here.
Ontario Provincial Police, they are the ones that started the First Available.
First Available is another name for Chaser.
They have developed a monster that they cannot control, and we are all suffering for it, including anybody out there that pays insurance of any kind.
Why do you think the OPP did this, though? Why do you think they brought in this system now?
I think they've done it so they don't have to show up at accident scenes. They don't have to do as much paperwork, and it's saving their officers. They're not all going to every single call.
And a lot of their officers, as they said earlier, are in on this shit. They're sending these guys over. Yo, there's something happening over there. Go pick up go tow that car over there.
The regional police do.
We took that allegation to the person in charge. Rose DeMarco is the Deputy Commissioner of the Ontario Provincial Police. She's the commander of traffic safety in Ontario.
The legitimate tow truck companies that we spoke to said that the problem has arisen because the OPP no longer wants to send its officers to accident scenes where there isn't a personal injury, that essentially you're handing over the responsibility of policing to tow truck companies.
They talk to everybody.
Some of those tow truck companies are criminal elements.
It's not necessarily that we're handing over policing to tow companies. We are asking for people to get off the highway as quickly as they can. The responsibility of a tow relies with the driver. So if you're capable of requesting a tow, it's your decision to make. It's not a police decision to make.
Why does...
Does that sound like passing the buck a little bit, gang? Sounds kind of past the bucky.
For people to get off the highway.
Actually, you're handing over the responsibility of policing to
Run it
tow
again.
truck companies. Some of those tow truck companies are criminal elements.
It's not necessarily that we're handing over policing to tow companies. We are asking for people to get off the highway as quickly as they can. The responsibility of a tow relies with the driver. So if you're capable of requesting a tow, it's your decision to make. It's not a police decision to make.
Why doesn't...
So it's not the police's problem when you get towed, which makes sense, right? It's the driver's problem. You got to figure out who you're gonna go get to pick up your stuff, right? Who you gonna get to tow you off the side of the road? So you can't blame the police all of a sudden. Like, yo, what do you mean? Somebody just tried to pop up. Device not connected. Rejoin, bro. It's not letting me this. They will need to connect microphone. You got to connect your microphone or something, bro. G something 416J. You got to connect your microphone.
The OPP just ban the chasing model where it's the first on the scene, which seems to be what's setting up the problem on the highways.
It becomes problematic if we have a car in a live lane. So we're looking for a tow company to be there quickly.
Would you support eliminating...
Which in turn, hey, we can send one over there real quick. GTR, if you want to join the conversation, you got to put your mic on. Okay, well, you're out of there. Let's continue.
The chaser model and having it be a system that's rotational, where there's a list and that the tow truck companies are vetted, criminal background checks.
Yeah,
I
right.
would support that, yes. I would support. There's many suggestions that the OPP would support.
But the Deputy Commissioner claims she can't do anything without provincial government regulations.
Essentially, we're looking for a regulatory framework that will help increase safety, increase enforcement, will clarify consumer protection, and will also enhance the towing industry.
As a result of all the violence and demands for change, the province of Ontario has now set up an industry-wide task force. The mission to clean up the industry.
So there's a tow truck task force, basically. And there we have it. All right. That's pretty much it. All right. Salute to W5 for this coverage right here. Very, 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 very dope coverage. Jay Kinsley. Yeah, you gotta You got to connect the mic. It's not letting me let you add you to the conversation without connecting the mic. Yeah, this is a wild chain of events that's been going on. And right now, Doug Ford, he's also been adding an extra initiative when it comes to this whole tow truck wars, right? Used tires. Let me just pull up what I was just looking at here. I was just pulling up some articles on Google. Un momento. Salute to my cat Randy here. Acting a damn fool. This is what originally brought me to this whole thing. Used for hire. Ontario teens face first-degree murder charges related to tow truck shooting. These kids are out here wilding, doing drills for the tow trucks, doing drills for the tow truck companies. Un momento. Let's let the ad run.
Vehicle as well. Around the same time, a tow truck parked in this apartment parking lot on Bellamy Road was set on fire. The debris here is all
A lot of this stuff is happening in Scarborough. That's crazy.
that's left after the fire was put out and the vehicle taken away.
Wow.
That driver told us off camera he was driving the truck for someone else and had no idea why he was targeted. Police acknowledge the fires are all suspicious, but have not officially linked them together. This appears to be the latest skirmish in the tow truck industry. 3 years ago, police made 20 arrests in connection with tow truck turf wars. Project Platinum took aim at companies trying to muscle out the competition. York Regional Police called it
How's that working out for you?
organized crime, saying competition in the industry has resulted in murders, assaults, threats, and property damage. On Sunday on Westney Road in Ajax, fire crews put out a blaze in a strip
Ajax,
plaza.
East
Durham
End.
Regional Police acknowledged that as crews were trying to extinguish this fire, another vehicle fire started a half hour
Yo, these guys are just setting bare cars on fire. This is insane.
earlier near here. They tell Global News that fire involved a tow truck. Here in Scarborough, a family member of the driver told us what's happening right now is dangerous, and some drivers are fearing for the lives of their loved ones. And just about 15 minutes ago, I connected with the driver who owned the tow truck, which has these remains here. He doesn't even pick up cars for a living. He works at a body shop, so they don't take cars from the highway or from the road that broken down. He figures he's just collateral damage in this tow truck feud, and he's paying the price. Problem for him is he has liability insurance in the tow truck, but no replacement cost, and he's the second.
See, they bring in the insurance. All rolls back to insurance. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to anything like this, just follow the money. Follow the money, man. Spooky. I'm going to get off of this. Okay? Salute to anybody out there who's like going through any strife. Anybody who's maybe like lost their lives just to like the tow truck wars. And I'm asking here also in the chat, has the tow truck wars... Is the tow truck wars raising the crime rate? 83% says yes. 17% says no. I don't even want to know who that 17% is because, it's obvious. It's obvious. But yeah, salute to anybody involved. And listen, please, don't holler at me, y'all. I'm just a streamer, just a podcaster.
We love hip hop.